The $1 million burden. Bloodhound Lil Jeff's mother may have inherited a fortune. But what came with that money was a burden no parent would ever choose. Online. The story sounds simple. A young rapper dies. His music explodes. And his mother receives $1 million. But the deeper you look, the less this feels like success, and the more it feels like a warning about grief, fame, violence, and money colliding. The exact $1 million figure has never been clearly proven. What is real is that Lil Jeff's name grew after his death. His streams climbed. Posthumous releases reached new listeners. And the value of his catalog increased. His mother was not only mourning her son, she was also facing decisions about music, business, and a legacy that kept moving without him. Every stream can create revenue, but it can also remind her that Jeff is no longer here to hear the song, celebrate the milestone, or decide what happens next. Every headline about inheritance makes it look like she gained something, while hiding the truth that she lost the one thing no amount of money could replace. The internet keeps arguing about another side. Some believe Lil Jeff's mother understood the dangerous world surrounding her son and accepted too much of it. Others say a few viral clips can never explain the reality of raising a child on Chicago's South Side. Was she encouraging the image? Trapped inside circumstances bigger than her? Or caught between both truths? We are going behind the headline to examine who Lil Jeff was before fame. What shaped his music? What happened to his legacy after June 2024? And whether the $1 million story is fact, exaggeration, or something more complicated. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below. Press 1 if money can never heal this loss. Or press 2 if the full truth has not been told. Subscribe, because Chapter 2 reveals what shaped Lil Jeff before the world knew his name, before the fame, before the headlines, before the viral clips, and before strangers argued over what his life meant. Bloodhound Lil Jeff was simply Jeffrey Lamar Harris Jr. A kid growing up on Chicago's South Side. He was born into a city where opportunity and danger could exist on the same block, sometimes separated by only a few steps. The environment around him did not write every decision he would later make, but it shaped the pressure surrounding those decisions long before music entered the picture. People who discovered Jeff through drill records often met the hardest version of him first. They heard the threats, the urgency, and the cold confidence in his delivery. What they did not hear as clearly was the younger version of Jeff, the one who reportedly had athletic ambitions and imagined a future that looked different from the one the public eventually watched unfold. That contrast matters because it reveals how quickly a young person's path can narrow when grief, loyalty, neighborhood conflict, and identity begin pulling in the same direction. Jeff's music later sounded raw because the emotions underneath it were not invented in a studio. Fear, anger, pride, and survival had already become part of his language. Reports that his family home was struck by gunfire when he was still a teenager show how close violence may have been to his everyday life. It was not a distant story playing on the news. It was something that could reach the place where he was supposed to feel safest. That does not excuse every choice that followed. And it does not reduce him to a victim with no control. It does, however, explain why simple labels fail. Lil Jeff was not created by one song, one crew, or one confrontation. He was shaped slowly by a world where being respected could feel necessary, appearing vulnerable could feel dangerous, and tomorrow was never guaranteed. To understand how he became Bloodhound Lil Jeff, we first have to understand what happened to the boy who existed before that name carried weight. From basketball dreams to drill music, the most haunting part of Lil Jeff's story is not that he always seemed destined for drill music. It is that, according to the story surrounding his early life, he once imagined another direction. Basketball reportedly gave him structure, competition, and a possible identity beyond neighborhood politics. But in places where personal loss can instantly become a demand for loyalty, a dream does not always disappear because the person stops believing in it. Sometimes it gets pushed aside by events that feel more urgent than the future. A major turning point came after the death of a relative connected to the Bloodhound circle. The loss reportedly changed how Jeff moved. who he trusted, and what he believed he needed to become. In Chicago street language, people described him as stepping off the porch. But that phrase can hide how serious the transformation really is. It means entering a world where reputation carries consequences. Old friendships can become alliances, and grief can be redirected into retaliation instead of healing. Music became the place where all of those emotions were organized. Jeff did not approach drill like an outsider studying a popular sound. He used it as a record of the world around him. That made the songs feel immediate. But it also erased the distance between art and conflict. Every verse could strengthen his name as an artist, while also deepening the image he was expected to maintain outside the booth. By 2022, he had begun releasing music that caught attention within the underground scene. The appeal was not polish, it was conviction. Listeners believed he meant what he said. And in drill culture, belief can become a form of currency. The more authentic he appeared, the more valuable the music became. But authenticity carried a hidden cost. The audience was no longer only listening to songs, they were watching a real life unfold in public. That raises the question hanging over everything that came later. Did music give Lil Jeff a route out? Or did success reward the very identity that made leaving more difficult? The answer may be both. His talent opened a door, but the persona bringing people through that door was tied to the same environment he needed to survive. The Bloodhound identity. Bloodhound was more than a name attached to Lil Jeff's music. It represented loyalty, shared history, and a collective identity that made his rise feel bigger than one artist. His partnership with Bloodhound Q50 became especially important because their chemistry sounded natural. They did not seem like two performers placed together for marketing. Their records carried the energy of people who understood the same codes, the same losses, and the same pressure. Songs associated with their run gave fans a specific sound to follow. Danse production, direct delivery, and verses built to feel unpredictable. Jeff had a way of creating suspense inside a bar, making listeners feel as though the next line could change the temperature of the entire track. That distinctiveness helped him stand out in a crowded drill scene where imitation is quickly exposed. But the Bloodhound identity also blurred the line between music branding and real-world allegiance. In most genres, an artist can exaggerate a character and step away from it when the performance ends. Jeff's public image suggested no such separation. His music, social media presence, friendships, and reputation all appeared to support the same story. Fans viewed that consistency as proof. Critics viewed it as evidence that the music was documenting a dangerous cycle rather than merely describing one. This is where the industry's relationship with authenticity becomes uncomfortable. Labels, platforms, and audiences often reward artists for sounding real. Yet when real means remaining connected to active conflict, the commercial incentive can point in the opposite direction from safety. The artist receives attention for the very details that may place him at greater risk. Lil Jeff's nickname and image intensified that tension. The darker the reputation became, the more curiosity followed. Each new listener increased the value of his catalog. But each public claim also made it harder to separate Jeffrey the young man from Bloodhound. Lil Jeff the symbol. By the time wider audiences started paying attention, the identity was already complete. He was not being introduced as an artist with room to evolve. He was being consumed as an authentic figure from a dangerous world. And once the public decides that authenticity is the product, changing can feel like betrayal, even when changing might be the only way to survive. The mother behind the controversy. No part of this story has produced more judgment than the role of Lil Jeff's mother. After his death, clips, commentary, and old stories circulated across social media, creating an image of a parent who allegedly knew how deeply her son was involved in street conflict and did not respond with the fear or condemnation outsiders expected. For some viewers, those fragments became proof that she accepted the lifestyle. For others, they showed only a family adapting to realities the internet could never fully understand. The problem is that viral clips remove everything outside the frame. A few seconds of laughter, pride, anger, or bravado cannot explain years of private conversations. They cannot show whether she warned him, argued with him, feared for him, or felt powerless to change the direction he had chosen. Public perception filled those missing spaces with certainty. Even though the complete story remains unavailable, that does not mean every criticism is unfair. Parents influence children, and families can sometimes normalize behavior that deserves to be challenged. But reducing the outcome of a young man's life to one person's parenting ignores the influence of neighborhood conditions, peer loyalty, trauma, economics, social media, and an industry that rewards dangerous credibility. Responsibility can exist without being simple. The controversy became even more painful because she was judged after losing her son. She was no longer only a mother experiencing grief. She became a public character in someone else's content. Commentators debated whether she had protected him enough, encouraged him too much, or benefited from the legacy that followed. People who had never entered her home spoke as though they understood every decision made inside it. This chapter of the story matters because it reveals how the internet treats mothers connected to drill tragedy. They are often forced into one of two roles: innocent symbols of grief or villains, blamed for everything that happened. Real people are more complicated than either category. Lil Jeff's mother may have understood parts of his world that outsiders found shocking. She may also have carried fears the public never saw. What is certain is that when her son died, the judgment did not end. It grew until her grief, her parenting, and eventually, her finances all became part of the same public trial. The breakout that came too late. In early 2024, Lil Jeff appeared to be reaching the moment every underground artist waits for. His name was moving beyond a local circle. His records were being discussed more widely, and listeners were treating him as one of the voices capable of bringing new energy into Chicago drill. The momentum was no longer theoretical. It was happening in real time. The release of Aha became a major part of that rise. Fans shared the track, analyzed the lyrics, and debated the real-life references they believed were hidden inside it. That attention worked like fuel. The more controversial the record appeared, the more people wanted to hear it. Jeff's collaborations with Q50 added to the momentum, giving the Bloodhound name a recognizable chemistry and a growing audience. From a career perspective, the timing looked promising. He had a distinct voice, a loyal fan base, and music that generated conversation without a traditional mainstream campaign. Those are the ingredients labels and distributors look for because they signal organic demand. Reports later suggested that professional infrastructure was beginning to form around his catalog, creating the possibility that his reach could expand far beyond the underground. But the same qualities driving the breakout also increased the danger. His lyrics were not treated as fictional storytelling. Listeners connected them to real rivalries, real people, and real incidents. Social media then amplified every accusation, response, and warning. What might once have remained local could now travel instantly to thousands of viewers, including the people being referenced. The result was a career moving forward, while the world behind the music grew more unstable. Success did not create distance from the conflict. It placed a brighter spotlight on it. Each new song strengthened his artistic position. But the attention also hardened expectations around who Bloodhound Lil Jeff was supposed to be. That is why this period feels so tragic in hindsight. He was not an artist whose dream had already failed. He was an artist whose dream was beginning to work. The door was opening, but there was no guarantee he would live long enough to walk through it. And as June approached, the gap between his potential future and his immediate reality became dangerously small. The day everything changed. On June 8, L'Entending Archisse, the future people imagined for Lil Jeff ended on Chicago's South Side. Reports surrounding the incident described a confrontation in the Woodlawn area that escalated into gunfire. Publicly circulated footage and commentary turned the final moments of a 21-year-old's life into content viewed, replayed, and debated by strangers. The details are disturbing, but the larger truth matters more than repeating them. A young artist who had only recently begun gaining serious momentum was gone before he could release a full body of work on his own terms. He would never see how far the songs traveled, never decide how unfinished material should be handled, and never learn whether music might eventually have carried him beyond the life he documented. His death immediately produced competing narratives. Supporters mourned someone they believed had been authentic from the beginning, Critics pointed to the outcome as evidence that the cycle described in drill music was not sustainable. Rival commentary, online speculation, and attempts to assign blame spread rapidly. Once again, the person at the center became less important than the arguments built around him. For his family, there was no time to process the loss privately. His name was trending. His music was being rediscovered. And the public wanted answers. The same internet that had watched his rise now examined his death, frame by frame. Grief became inseparable from exposure. There is a cruel contradiction in what happened next. The event that ended Lil Jeff's life also expanded his audience. People who had never heard his name searched for his songs. Listeners moved through his catalog looking for clues, meaning, and proof of the reputation they had heard about. His absence created a level of attention he had been chasing while alive. That does not mean the music succeeded because he died. It means tragedy changed the way the public consumed it. The songs were no longer only records. They became pieces of a final story, and for the people closest to him, every new fan arrived with the same unbearable reality. The world was finally discovering Lil Jeff at the exact moment he could no longer benefit from being discovered. When death increased the streams, within days of Lil Jeff's death, his catalog began moving differently. Streams rose. Old videos attracted new comments. And listeners outside Chicago entered a story that longtime fans had followed for years. The attention created opportunities for posthumous releases, but it also introduced a difficult question. When an artist is no longer alive, who decides what the public hears next? Stepping in Blood arrived shortly after his death, placing more of his work in front of an audience already searching for it. Additional projects and collaborations helped keep his name active. Supporters viewed the releases as preservation, a way to ensure his work did not disappear. Critics saw the timing and wondered whether grief was being transformed into a business strategy. Both interpretations can exist at once. Releasing music can honor an artist, support a family, and preserve a cultural moment. It can also generate revenue for labels, distributors, managers, collaborators, and platforms. The ethical difference often depends on consent, transparency, and whether the artist's intentions are respected, but those answers are difficult when the artist left no complete plan. Bloodhound Q50 remained important to the continuation of Jeff's legacy. As a close collaborator, he could help preserve the energy and context behind the music. Yet even genuine loyalty exists inside a commercial system. Unreleased verses have value. Features create attention, marchandise, licensing, and streaming all turn memory into measurable income. The industry understands this. A posthumous catalog can grow for years, especially when fans treat every unreleased track as another piece of the artist they lost. That demand encourages more releases, which create more attention, which increases the catalog's value. The cycle can preserve the name while making grief profitable. For Lil Jeff's mother, the growth likely meant responsibility, arriving at the worst possible time. Business decisions could not wait for mourning to become easier. Contracts, approvals, royalties, and public representation demanded answers. While the loss was still fresh, the music kept moving, because digital platforms never stop. But behind every number was a family learning that Lil Jeff had become more commercially valuable after death than he had been during life. That is not a victory. It is one of the darkest contradictions in the modern music economy. The truth about the $1 million. The $1 million claim became the cleanest headline in the entire story. It was dramatic, easy to repeat, and almost impossible for casual viewers to verify. According to the version circulating online, Lil Jeff's mother inherited a fortune after his death, but the available information does not establish a confirmed one-time payment of exactly $1 million. What it describes is a growing catalog, increased streaming, possible label or distribution relationships, and long-term earning potential. Those things are not the same as receiving a suitcase of cash. Music revenue can come from several places: master recordings, publishing, performance royalties, video monetization, licensing, marchandise, and future releases. Each stream produces only a small amount before contracts, ownership percentages, distribution fees, management costs, taxes, and other obligations are considered. A catalog may be valued at a large number, while the estate receives money gradually over years. Ownership is another major question. If multiple parties control different rights, no single person automatically receives everything. A label may own or license masters. Writers and producers may hold publishing shares. Distributors may recover expenses. Management agreements may remain active. Without access to the contracts and estate records, outsiders cannot accurately calculate what Lil Jeff's mother received. So why did $1 million become accepted as fact? Because complexity performs poorly online. A catalog may generate significant revenue over time, depending on ownership, does not fit comfortably into a thumbnail. His mother inherited $1 million, creates instant curiosity and outrage. The more responsible conclusion is that Lil Jeff's posthumous success likely created real financial value. While the exact amount and structure remain unclear, his mother may control important decisions surrounding his name and music. But control also brings legal, financial, and emotional pressure. The headline suggests she won something after losing her son. The reality is far less comfortable. Any income attached to the catalog exists because he is no longer here to manage it himself. Even if the estate eventually earns more than $1 million, the number would represent the value of music left behind, not compensation capable of balancing what was taken away. A legacy money cannot heal. When the noise is removed, Lil Jeff's story is not really about $1 million. It is about what happens when talent, trauma, loyalty, business, and violence become impossible to separate. He built an audience by sounding authentic, but that authenticity was connected to a life carrying real danger. His music opened a path toward success. Yet the identity powering that success may also have made escape more difficult. The strategic lesson for young artists is clear. Talent alone is not protection. Artists need trusted legal guidance, written plans for unreleased music, clear ownership records, life insurance, estate preparation, and people willing to value their survival more than their image. A viral moment can create leverage, but without structure, others may control the catalog when the artist can no longer speak. The industry also has a responsibility. Labels and platforms cannot celebrate realness while ignoring the conditions producing it. When companies profit from music rooted in active conflict, they should invest in security, counseling, conflict mediation, financial education, and genuine routes away from danger. Marketing tragedy, after it happens, is easier than protecting a young artist before it does. Fans carry responsibility too. Attention is power. When audiences reward escalation, turn allegations into entertainment, or treat real deaths like episodes in a series, they help create a market where the most dangerous story receives the greatest reach. Supporting the music does not require celebrating destruction. For Lil Jeff's mother, no royalty statement can resolve the central loss. Every release may preserve her son's voice, but it also confirms that the voice is all the public has left. People can debate her choices, the exact value of the estate, and how the catalog should be managed. None of those debates change the fact that a mother buried her 1-year-old son. The most human response is not to choose another side in an endless conflict. It is to hope the next talented young artist lives long enough to change, grow, and enjoy the success his music creates. Legacy should be built through a full life, not completed by an early death. Where are you watching from today? Comment your city or country below. Press 1 if the industry must do more to protect young artists. Or press 2 if audiences must change first. Like this video, share it with someone who follows hip-hop culture, and subscribe for more stories that look beyond the headline and search for the truth behind the music.